Shut up and sit down.
Great, so we're back. Final beers here. That last one was fantastic.
Awesome. I really want to drink the whole bottle.
And we've lined up the bottles here because Laurent's got some really cool bottles that he uses in the process. I'll let him kind of explain the background a bit behind that when he comes in. But what do you feel? I mean, we've done a lighter beer, we've done an amber. What seems fitting?
Probably a stout.
Probably a stout.
Probably something heavy.
You got something? You got something?
Well, you ask and you shall receive.
Oh, look at this. It was almost like it was staged like that or something.
You would think, right?
Here, I'll let you show it.
Okay, so this is an Imperial Stout. It's been aging for quite some time now. It is a 9.6%. The name is Liquid Dynamite, and the reasoning behind it actually did blow up the fermenter during the fermentation process.
Were you sleeping when that happened?
No, I wasn't in the house, but the mess that it made was astronomical. That being said, I was only left with half the batch because I lost the majority of it.
And what is the percentage on this again?
This is 9.6%.
Reasonable.
Very reasonable.
Laurent's really not happy with the discussion so far. I'm really trying to make sure this gets a little more...
Trying to get things a little more rowdy here.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
right. I'm going to see what the color is on this, though. It's
going to be black as night.
Wow, look at that, eh?
Well,
that's pretty good.
That was a lot, but
no, it's okay.
We'll survive.
We'll be okay.
Thank you, sir.
Look at that, eh?
Get
it's
ready
like
for
molasses.
coffee hues and a bit of Scotch flavoring behind.
Cheers.
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 Oh,
I really like that one too.
Laurent.
And this is good because I didn't have enough coffee this morning.
That is really nice.
Yeah, it's really good. It's got a really good coffee taste. But the Scotch, I know he told us it was in it. I didn't expect it.
That's smooth.
It's
That's
really
really
good.
smooth. It's. I'm trying to think of like, you know how you drink like Innocent Gun in that or something like that, and you're expecting it to be like the beer flavor or whatever else with a bit of the Scotch kind of background in it. That's the kind of
It's really good.
interesting flavor you get out of it. How dark it is too.
I also love that it's not heavily carbonated.
Yeah. No. Well, I mean, like traditional stouts, I guess, are pretty light on the carbonation. But
It's
we
really good.
should also mention that after Laurent pours our beers, he goes and sits on the couch and drinks the rest of the bottle. So Laurent's actually feeling pretty good right now, I think.
He thinks that we're really funny.
That's right. Him and Dougie are hanging out, enjoying themselves. But I'm loving these bottles. So these are... Here, come back in and explain the bottles a bit again, too. I'd love to kind of hear a bit about that.
Well, I guess it's the fact that I'm a bit of a superficial person. So therefore, I go to a store, I see an interesting bottle, I want to buy it.
Yeah.
And so in my whole brand, I've always tried to adopt that principle that I want to make things exciting for people.
Yeah.
So will always be different bottles, always different colored caps.
Cool.
And in essence, it's the only way that I can actually differentiate the different beers. So that's really the basic principle behind it, is to know what it is that I'm pouring for people.
I really like the bottles.
Yeah, the stubbies are great, and they're definitely coming back, which I love. But so the first one, because you mentioned the name. Sorry, what was it again? It's the
Liquid Dynamite.
Liquid Dynamite, because of the explosion, and this one was
the ESB, which does not necessarily have a name, but we coming to realize now that I have Doug here, I would assume we'll call it the hair of the dog.
I love it.
I like
love it. I can't wait to see a label for it.
And what's the name of the maple one? Because I think it's my favorite.
It's a very French name. It's called a bec sucré. So it would be the sweet kiss or the sweet lips.
Fantastic.
Depending on your interpretation.
I think I just met my bilingual requirements for the episode.
There you go.
I think we're good. But anyways, that's awesome. Thanks so much. Do you want this back to continue enjoying?
No, you
Okay, all right.
Oh,
we might have a bit more. We'll see. Great. So we've covered off a good amount of stuff so far.
Yeah, we've done well today.
I'm enjoying it so far.
It's almost like we've had all three of these in their entirety.
I know, which is great. But it's so cool. I mean, I'm really glad that we're able to come out and try something unique. So how do we want to finish? Let's talk about, we're involved in politics. Yeah, like we get a paycheck and that sort of thing. But like, what do you really get out of it? Which is my thing. Like, what if you're going to get involved? I don't care to what extent you're going to get involved. What are you getting out of it?
I would think that, we spent a lot of time talking about opinions, and ultimately our conversation has kind of drilled down on, do I feel like I have the right to have that opinion? Do I feel like my opinion is valid.
Yes.
And I think what you get out of engaging with politics, however you choose to do that, is the feeling that you do have the right to have an opinion.
Yeah.
That you do have the right to have a say. And that, more than anything, is valuable because that means that you will probably vote. Right?
Yeah.
And that's huge. We all talk about it all the time, but get out the vote is a really big deal. We need to have more people voting. You should be voting.
Yeah.
So I think that is probably the biggest thing you get out of it.
Yeah.
But also, at least what I get out of it is a sense that I have contributed to Canada as a whole, right? I've contributed to Canada as a community, and not everyone may agree with that contribution. They may not like it, but I have contributed to help building the country that I want to see.
Yeah.
And that is really important to me.
Yeah, or your community.
Or my community on a small scale, depending on what level you're involved in.
I agree there.
Yeah.
So now what I would jump to is, there, and I kind of, just in my notes in advance of this, I kind of put together, okay, well, there's kind of three categories in my mind of the people that associate themselves with politics. Okay, I mean, I know it's a little bit interesting. So you got your involved, you got your not involved, and you got your blissfully ignorant. And blissfully ignorant it's not supposed to be derogatory in any sense, to be honest, because like I said, there's a lot of people out there that they go to work, they get up in the morning, go to work, they come home, and again, they barely have time to think about themselves, let alone anything else.
Yeah.
And those are hardworking folks. Like, why should we expect them to, devote an evening to go, work with an organization or, those sorts of things, like to extend themselves beyond what they're capable of doing. I'm not sure, that sounded really terrible. Capable of doing, have the time to do.
Sure. I think the key though is expecting. I don't expect them to. I don't think you do either. But I don't think we should expect them to engage in any particular way.
No.
I think what I hope and maybe expect is that they engage at all. And that doesn't mean donating time. Doesn't mean donating money. It doesn't mean to a political party or any other organization, right? Any other association, not-for-profit, loose group of people who believe the same things.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that. What it means is I hope that they, even if it's just in the 3 to 36 days prior to an election, I hope that they engage with what is out there and vote. And I know I keep coming back to that, and I know that's simple, and I know that's simplistic, but...
Is that because you want there to be, like, legal requirements for you to go and vote? I mean, I know you're a big fan of Australia, of course, so... But.
No, it's not. It's because I often struggle with people who complain about their taxes, who complain about healthcare, who complain about really anything that government has an impact on.
Yep.
But they do not engage it, frankly, at the most important way, which is voting for somebody they believe in.
Yeah, and to be honest, like I agree with you, and I couldn't count the number of times I've said to somebody, well, did you vote? And they go, well, no. And I go, well, then, like, what do you expect?
Want me to say?
Yeah, like, what do you want me to do? But at the same time, though, like, they're paying their taxes, and they want to be pissed off.
Yeah, that's fair.
You can be as pissed off as you want about it because, yes, voting is important, and it's important to us, but it's not important to everybody.
Yep, you're right.
And so if you're not going to go out and do it, but you're paying your taxes and you're contributing, you have every right to have an opinion.
Yeah, that's fair.
And you can say it pretty loudly because you're contributing. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. But if you disagree with how your money is being spent or the programs that are being created or legislation that's being created, you're allowed to be upset about that.
Absolutely. That's completely fair.
I mean, I want people to vote. Of course I want people to vote. But you're still allowed to be upset. And I think that's where the validity of the opinion comes in, is that so you may not go and vote, but all I want you to do is to feel like you have the right and the opportunity to, when somebody sits down and asks you a question about something that you have an opinion on, that you voice it. And when that's voiced, that the other people around you don't say to you, well, and because I'm guilty of it too, well, did you vote? No. But as long as they don't say to you, your opinion doesn't matter. You're not educated enough. Wow, that didn't come off the tongue correctly.
Really
you're not educated. Yeah, you're not educated enough you don't know what you're talking about. It's not something that affects you, so why should you have an opinion? And I think that's the greatest threat to the conversations that we're having right now, is people shutting other folks down when they have strong views on something because they believe that they don't deserve to have an opinion on something.
And you and I are on exactly the same page as that, right? I mean, we keep coming back to the right to have an opinion.
Yeah.
Everybody has the right to have an opinion.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is also a great example of what we were talking about before, which is we're sharing ideas that are different. It's almost the first time in this episode.
Yeah.
And that's cool. We're still going to finish these beers
Yeah,
after.
we're
We're
still
still
gonna
going to be great
enjoy
friends. And you also convinced me, like, that's very true, right?
Yeah.
You're paying taxes, you're contributing to society in many ways, you're absolutely entitled to your opinion.
Yeah.
And maybe you shouldn't have to express it by voting.
Yep.
As people who are incredibly involved, we would hope you do. But I think that's the key, right?
Yep.
You sit down, you express your opinion.
Yeah, and I mean...
You sit down, and Lauren's a great example, right?
Yep.
Your partner isn't super involved in politics.
Yep.
She knows what's going on in the world. She has her opinions.
Yep.
You guys still talk about it.
Yeah. No, that's it.
And you don't agree, right? And that's okay. You still talk about politics.
Yeah.
My dad still calls me on a regular basis. Talk about politics. We don't often agree about exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
That's all that matters, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that is really the key. But what do you get out of it?
Yeah, sorry, I kind of toured a little bit away from that, but
no, but it's a good way to frame it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have an opinion, you contribute to society, you're entitled with it. Maybe that's as much as you do to engage. What do you get out of it?
Yeah, I think to really define what you get out of it, I think you have to kind of take it away from traditional perspectives on politics, traditional involvement. And you really have to, take it down to kind of I don't know, what's the best way to put it? What are the core parts of beer? You got your hops, you got your barley, you got, whatever you're putting into it, right?
Base ingredients.
You can take it down to your base ingredients. What are your hops, right? Like, what are the things you genuinely care about? And that's your politics. I think that's the best way to think about it, is that your politics is your hops. If we're going to bring it down to this beer analogy, your politics is your hops. What do you care about? What are your core things? And you are allowed to have an opinion on that. And you're allowed to be loud about your opinion. And other people, they can let it go in one ear and out the other, but they have to respect that you have an opinion. And I think that's it. So, cool.
I think we did it.
I think we did it too. So we've got what's left of our stout here. Look, I think we covered some really interesting stuff here today. We've got a great setup here with Laurent. Laurent, come on back in here. Doug is so comfortable. I feel bad waking him up. But I want to thank you so much for inviting us here, inviting us into your house, and showing us your setup here. This is fantastic. Beautiful house out here in Chelsea. It felt like going to the cottage driving out here. But it is kind of inspiring of what are the things that are you really passionate about? Beer is something that's passionate. That's your hops. That's one of your bits of politics. So thank you so much for doing that.
My
it's
pleasure.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you for being here, sir.
Definitely a pleasure.
Perfect. So, and thank you for Lauren for jumping behind the camera there. So that is the end of our second episode of Pints and Politics. I encourage you to like and subscribe, share the video widely. Hopefully we'll get some more conversations going. But again, thanks so much for joining us on the second episode of Pints and Politics.